Welcome to the creepy edition of Sir John's Top 10, and we must warn you, this one is bound to give you nightmares. So cuddle up with your fur baby as we get you through the world's top 10 serial killers, some of whom you've probably never heard of. These may not be your household names like Charles Manson or Richard Ramirez, but they definitely aren't the kind of person you want to meet. But before we begin, make sure you've subscribed and clicked on that bell notification button. Send a screenshot to our Instagram at @TheAsianGigsterIG and get a chance to win premium giveaways. Now, let's proceed with our topic. Sir John's Top 10 Terrifying Serial Killers. Number 10. Luis Alfredo Gavarito. Gavarito has been referred to as the most opportunistic and deadliest serial killer of all time. Using the aftermath of the Colombian War, he murdered hundreds of orphans, and seeing as there was nobody left to report them missing and limited police force remaining to enforce the law, he killed a suspected 300 homeless children, but admitting only to 140. Number 9. Andrew Kehoe. After financial trouble and the loss of his wife to tuberculosis, Andrew was under an enormous amount of pressure, something that he did not deal well with. After being unable to pay his church membership, he certainly lost touch with God. Rumor has it that he beat a horse to death, but what its effect has to say about him is even worse. Within the home where he kept his wife, even after her passing, he turned his attention towards detonating devices. First blowing up the home before going on a local school, killing himself and 45 others with almost 60 more injured. Number 8. Dorothy Puente. Little old ladies are genuinely known for their baking skills and addiction to the bingo halls, but in this case there was something far more sinister about this grandmother. Borderline bad horror movie plot. After murdering her roommate but getting away with it, she murdered again. This time the poison was discovered and she was imprisoned. However, in prison she began the corresponding with a fellow pensioner. They entered into a relationship, and by the time a sentence was over, they were deeply in love. Or so he thought, until she murdered him and continued to collect his pension checks over the next few years. Number 7. John Edward Robinson. We always expect serial killers to have a rough background, but in this case, Robinson was far from it. He was an avid churchgoer, businessman, and others even considered him as a good neighbor. Somewhere along the line, all of these things fell apart, and he became the first serial killer to use the internet to find his victims. He joined a fetish site where he played the role of slave master, and it wasn't long after that women started disappearing. After being caught, the charges were dropped on a bribe, leaving him to go free again. $5,000 out of pocket, and with a criminal record, he needed to cut his losses. This was when he started using BDSM techniques to put women into submissive positions, persuading them to give him their money, then killing them. Because why not? He had already gotten away with it before. That was until they found an oil drum on his property, but contained one of them. Awkward. Number 6. Rodney Alcala. Who would have ever thought that a celebrity become a serial killer? Okay, there was a tragic incident with the wrestler Chris Benoit, but the best yet was this celebrity from a dating show. Rodney appeared on The Dating Game, where he claimed to like riding his motorcycle. But I must warn you, you just missed out on the fact that he also likes to murder women, and had been at the top of the FBI's most wanted list for a number of assaults against young women and girls. You would think the show would check up on something like this. Nope, they didn't. Number 5. Arthur Shawcross. Arthur Shawcross knew early on in life that he liked to start fires, something that he found his passion for while in Vietnam. We won't go into the atrocity that happened there, and we know that a lot of people still suffer from what they saw, but in this case it was 12 women and 2 children who suffered at the hands of the war veteran. He was caught later in life when urinating on the body of one of his victims in front of the camera. Number 4. Velma Barfield. This lovely old dear is one of the original Black Widows, marrying, killing, and then collecting checks and prescriptions from her multiple husbands. She was such a lovely woman, but everyone believed she had the worst luck, but chance had nothing to do with it. Following the tragic loss of her husband, she moved in with her mother, who died. When an elderly couple who also died, then followed by several patients of hers while working as a caretaker, who, you guessed it, also died. But with killers like Harold Shipman and the Angel of Death, why is this one so strange? Because she did all of it to get access to more prescription drugs. She was so addicted to painkillers that she literally killed her mother for them. Number 3. David Parker Ray. David Parker Ray was eerily named the Toy Box Killer because of an invention that he had made where he would insert toys and torture them. These toys, of course, being young females. Often he would play them a recording whilst they begged for their lives, with the toy box around them, giving instructions for their slavery. As if that wasn't creepy enough, he would keep them alive to be tortured for days, not just by him, but by his girlfriend and daughter. To quality family time, anyone? Detailed in his diary was the torture and murder of over 50 victims, but not a single one has ever been found. Number 2. The Giggling Granny. Yes, you heard that right. The Giggling Granny, otherwise known as Nancy Hazel, has to be one of the scariest stories we've ever heard. Her life wasn't exactly easy. Would-be killing her husband and collecting the life insurance probably made up for that. What we don't understand, though, is why she hated her grandkids so much. Enough to kill one by choking them and another by pushing a hat pin through the newborn's brain. It wasn't until husband number 5 that she was caught, having both grandchildren's death ruled as accidental. We don't know how that happened either. Number 1. Pedro Lopez. From tragic beginnings of abuse at the hands of a prostitute mother, Pedro was convicted of murder at 18 years old. During his time in prison, his loathing of young females only fermented into a toxic level. When he was released from jail, he went on an extreme rampage, sexually assaulting and murdering 14 and 15-year-old girls. At one point, he said he was killing 3 girls a week. When caught, he led police to a mass grave, home to the bodies of 53 young girls out of his 300-plus kills, landing him the name the Monster of the Andes. Not very creative, but accurate and chilling all the same. And the worst part? His whereabouts remain unknown after the release from prison in 1998. You will never look at the little old lady the same way again, or a churchgoer, anyone with internet, or indeed anyone the same again. And one last thing, never accept cookies from the elderly. So that wraps up another episode of Sir John's Top 10. But what else do you want to see? If you've creepily enjoyed this video, make sure that you leave a like and comment with your thoughts, then smash that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to see if your idea gets featured. Until next time, sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite. Sweet dreams, my friend.